Hello, my name is Vanessa Vallely and I'm CEO and founder of We Are Tech Women. I am delighted to have in my lounge Maxine Laceby, the co-founder of Absolute Collagen. Hi, Maxine.
Hello, and when did I ever think I would be in an interview and someone from a tech, Maxine Laceby Tech, that was something that's never going to be said, I'll tell you.
Well, we're on the We Are the City side. We have the We Are Tech side, but I'm sure there's technology that goes in that's involved within Absolute Collagen, so maybe we can touch on that.
Oh yes,
but first of all, I was grateful enough to sit on a panel with you recently at NatWest and thought, you know something, there is so much wonderful stuff that I'd love to share with the We Are the City community. So obviously inviting you in to get started. Let's talk a little bit about your background and what inspired you to set up Absolute Collagen.
Do you know, Vanessa, it was a crazy, crazy journey. I was a very happy stay-at-home mum by choice, and I know that I was very lucky to be a stay-at-home mum. I got to 49. My eldest had gone off to university. My youngest had just passed a test. I didn't have to do the school run. I thought, wow, what shall I do? Got really excited. I embarked on a fine art degree. During that first year of my fine art degree, I did this project called Dare to Go Bare. And I literally stripped myself, unknowingly, actually, I stripped myself off with every external mask. I had to have long, dark, curly hair, had it all cut off, chopped really short. I had the colour taken out, went yellow. Then I let the roots grow through. I did it for 4 months, wore no makeup, and wore really, really dowdy clothes for 4 months, just leggings and oversized t-shirts. And the purpose of that was the whole art project was based on, as a woman of a certain age, I was 49 at the time, would I disappear in people's vision if I did that? What it actually made me realize is by taking away all my external masks is how insecure I was about who I was and what I looked like. And it just really upset me. And I just thought, this has got to change. I'm not having this. This was 9 years ago. And I just thought, I'm done. I'm absolutely done with all of this. And I started looking at what I was putting in my body was one of the first things. And it's amazing that I've created a skincare brand, because every morning during this 4 months, I would wake up and I would put this make-believe onesie on. That onesie was Maxine. Because I think for the first time in my life, I could be me. I didn't have to be mother. I didn't have to be wife. I didn't have to be anything. And it was wonderful experience. It was also very frightening. So when I started looking at what I was putting in my body, I started making and drinking my own bone broth. Had an amazing sense of well-being, looked at what is it in this bone broth. My friends started asking for it. And a lot of research, purely by coincidence. My eldest daughter was studying food science at university. So we researched it and we realized it was the collagen that was making the difference. And that really is the absolute start of Absolute Collagen. It's a long-winded answer, but you need a little bit.
No, not at all. Just for for example, when I was speaking to my daughter about it and I was speaking about bone broth, she said to me, Mum, what is bone broth? So maybe let's shed a little bit of light, perhaps for those younger generations that are thinking, what is this?
So basically, because I'm old, I do make my own gravy, which everyone would be amazed who knows me, because I don't really enjoy cooking. But it's when you get, at the time, ours isn't made like this now, but at the time I was getting all the sort of meat bones, if I'd have had a roast dinner, and I'd put them in a pan and I would put a little bit of celery, and just boil it up and boil it up. So lots and lots of juice and water. And you boil it and then simmer it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and it goes down to a little juice. So probably after about 8 hours, I would do it. And then that is bone broth. So you're getting all the goodness out of the bones. And then when I let the bone broth settle and go cold, a jelly would form on top. And it wasn't fat, it was a jelly. And I believe, because I'm ADHD and solution focused, I kept, what is it? What is it? What is it? And that's how we came to be. So that basically is bone broth.
So is that a fundamental, is that still an ingredient of Absolute Collagen today?
So we started looking at, wanted it clean and as good for your hair, skin, nails as possible. And we started looking at what are the cleanest, purest forms. And it was marine collagen, which is far superior for what we wanted it for what Absolute Collagen wants it for. And so we started buying in hydrolyzed marine collagen. And I say hydrolyze because collagen is a protein, and protein should not go into the bloodstream. But when it's been hydrolyzed, it means it's been broken down to such tiny, tiny particles that it does get absorbed into the bloodstream. And when you get to about 25, your collagen levels start depleting. That's when you get wrinkles and fine lines. Not that I see many 25-year-olds though, but you know, so you start feeling it and looking it. And then what happens when you take Absolute Collagen, the collagen actually goes into your system because it's hydrolyzed, and then it goes straight, it's attracted straight to your fibroblasts that sit under the skin, and it literally says, wake up, create collagen, create collagen. So not only are you putting it in, you're stimulating your body to make more collagen.
Right, and the collagen is what gives us that lovely kind of more plumpy, I suppose it eliminates some of those lines because it gives you that beautiful plumpness.
Yeah, so collagen is basically the glue that holds you together. You know, it's everywhere in your body, and yeah, you sort of get a dewy kind of, yeah, you know, if you look at some women as they get older, they start losing this kind of volume, and it gives you that back, and it just gives you a dewy, plump, a lot of women don't like to use that word, but just a bouncier kind of look to your skin. And of course it affects your whole body. It's not just your skin on your face, it's your hair, your nails, your skin on your body. So yeah, that's basically Absolute Collagen.
And actually, I was saying to someone sitting next to you on the panel a couple of weeks back, I was, you know, obviously we were so close together, my eye line was with your beautiful cheekbones and everything like that, and I thought, well, there is a walking advert for Absolute Collagen. So you've discovered this bone broth, right? So you know, then how did that turn into a business, and what challenges did you face? You've got this idea, it's like, okay, what do I do with it now, and what came next?
So it was, first of all, I knew I was onto something when my friends were banging down my door for my booty, and I thought, God, you know, I can't be doing the cooking this. I was cooking it for them and giving them it was really hard work. Yeah. And I just thought, I need to make this easy, and what can I do? So I asked myself, I was making it for me and my friends, and I thought, what did we want from a collagen supplement? We wanted the maximum collagen our body needed. We needed it in the minimum dose, because I did not want to drink lots of volume, because that's not who I am. I can't, you know, too much volume and I'm not bothered. I didn't want to have to keep it in the fridge. I didn't want to have to mix it. I wanted it as easy as possible. And so we came up with these sachets. So that's the original lemon, and then we've got mango and mandarin, and then we've also got a raspberry. And I just wanted something. Women got enough on their plate, right? You don't want to, you need everything to be easy. So I wanted to be able to keep it in my car, in my handbag, and just take it on the go. And that's what you actually do. And there were challenges. There's many challenges. What I will say though is, I'm not scared of challenges. Weirdly enough, I like a challenge. I just think it keeps you present, keeps you focused. And I've got ADHD, as I said, so my brain is always exploding. And I just knocked on doors. Yes, as we found out. I just knocked on doors. So I worked out, with Darcy and I did lots of research and worked out that the maximum the minimum your body needed in collagen was about 8 grams. It doesn't need any more or less. Any more, and it just goes flush out the system, and it's a waste, because we're about sustainability as well. Yeah. I'm just in our clinical trials on this, and I'll come back to that. So I knew that if it was more volume, so that's the 10 mil, if it was 20 mil, I couldn't be bothered to take it. I know that sounds rubbish, but it was for me and my friends, and we knew what we wanted. And so the first obstacle or challenge was the formula. So I spoke to a gentleman who'd been formulating formulas for massive brands on the high street, and he said to me, this is a stupid formula, it won't formulate. And I said, no, you're right. But this is what I've done to make it work. And there's 2 steps I did in my kitchen, quite simple. And I think that's the great thing about being a woman, is we are solution focused. And if we want to get something done, we have to do it, right? Yeah. And so he phoned me back 2 weeks later and apologized. And he said, wow, this is pretty incredible what you've done. So that was the first challenge. Then I knew I didn't want it in a bottle because it's very messy. So it's quite, because collagen is a glue that holds you together, it's gloopy, it's like honey, it's like syrup. So in a bottle doesn't work. So I knew I wanted it in a sachet. So it was finding a sachet supplier that was in England, BRC accredited. I wanted everybody who worked to be really, really high standard. That was the next challenge. I suppose though, what I did do is ask questions constantly, never ever embarrassed. We created a formula in our kitchen. We were launching it into a market that did not exist. I had to ask many, many questions. And I do think women, and certainly women of a certain age, myself, our intuition is we're very in tune, and we can work people out. And we still work with the same people today as we did on day one. And that's massive credit, because one, it wasn't the first person we spoke to. I spoke to many, but I know I can trust, I can work people out, and it's testimony to that we still work with them today. So it was making sure I had great people around me that explain the journey, because I had no business experience, I had no degree, I knew nothing, and I was this crazy woman who had all her hair cut off, was wearing oversized t-shirts, looking like whatever, created this potion in a kitchen and wanted to launch it into market. And you've got to have people on your side for that, right?
Yeah.
And I believed. My point of reference was it worked. It's always been. I knew it worked, and I wanted to get it to as many women as possible to empower them. I'm not all about looks, I'm 58 and I'm really happy being 58. I have no desire to look 21. And if people want to get work done, knock yourself out. I'm very inclusive. You do you, right?
Yeah.
But for me, the reason I don't do that stuff is because it's really hard work and I want an easy life. And so this to me is really, really easy. So making it really easy for her whilst the end user was really important. And so that was one of many, or a couple of many challenges.
So, I mean, obviously it's a well-known brand. You talk about, how easy it is to administer. I've seen Emma Willis, I think it is, on Instagram, popping her Absolute Collagen. I mean, it's a well-known brand, and obviously social media is a part of that. But what strategies did you employ in order to grow and scale the business?
This is really interesting, Vanessa, because I was self-funded, and should I have been self-funded? Should I have not? First of all, there was no option for me because I had no experience. Everybody ignored me. There was no bank in the world that was going to give me money to launch something I'd come up with in my kitchen. In fact, 200 years ago, they ducked me in the village pond and left me there. Do you know what I mean? And because it was a new market, there was nobody that could educate the consumer better than me. So we were first to market. Everybody told me I needed back in a big brand, I needed to be in retail. There was no direct consumer brands at that time, which is mad to think of that now. I knew I wanted to go direct to consumer. So even that was like, whoa, she's really crazy now.
Yeah.
But I wanted a relationship with my absoluters. I wanted to get to know her. I wanted to look after her. I wanted to make sure she had the best in class, whether it's product or service, or pick up the phone to me, whatever. I just wanted that. So I really went against the grain. And what I will say is, had I gone for funding, I possibly would not have been able to do it my way.
Yeah.
Darcy at the time was just left uni, so she was kind of following my lead. And one of the things about Darcy and I, why it works so well, is I'm the crazy foot to the pedal on the motorway, like 100 miles an hour. She's gone. Well, what's she doing there? And Darcy's the one with the dustpan and brush going, shit, what's she doing now?
Yeah.
So she crosses the T's and dots the I's, and that's why it works. So I wanted to go direct to consumer. So I got somebody in I knew to build a website, somebody that I really, really knew, I really trusted. And again, it's all about, you need the right people. And what I will say about the guy that built my website, he's a shareholder, and Brad's been very instrumental in the business, is I would ask him the same question 40 times. He would answer me like he was answering it the very first time.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm saying is everybody I brought in really got me and respected me, because if I'd have asked somebody else 40 times, possibly the same day sometimes, they'd have gone, oh, bloody hell. So just bring in the right people. And then going direct to consumer, we turned on the website and nothing happened, because I'm not a digital marketeer. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I had to think, okay, we need digital marketing. We need somebody good. So I went online. I did a lot of research. I found a couple of people that I thought were good. And it's like looking into their background and what have they done. And it's crazy because there was hardly any digital marketeers at that point. 2016, I'm talking now, at the end of 2016. That was mad. And I found a couple, and I got on the train to London. I went to see them do a talk, and this one, I just really liked everything about her, what she stood for. And I just said, "You taking any more clients?" She said, "No." And I would not leave her alone. And I wanted her to be my digital marketer because, again, I'd worked out that she was a good person, that she knew her stuff. And I think everybody I brought into the business from day one, even, you know, if you look at Darcy, they've all been far superior in their fields to me. And that is part of my success. Yeah. And also, I think when you bring people in, you have to have the respect. Like, I'd gone and found the guy to build the website. I've gone and found the digital marketer. I've begged, borrowed, and made them come and work with me, nearly. I then had to find the courage to hand over the reins to them and go, right, I don't know anything about digital marketing. You're telling me you need this amount of money. I'm going to have to trust you. That is hard.
Yes,
you have to respect people you bring in. And I think that's what I've always done, you know. And yeah, so digital marketing went on. I think we were spending $3,000 in the first month, which was and her fees, which was a hell of a lot of money. And then obviously there's a couple of sales to start with. And what you also get is you've got the batch that you're selling, you've got a batch in transit, and you've got a batch being made. So that's the outlay of money constantly.
Yeah.
The first batch went off because I didn't sell it in time. So that was money down the drain. But, you know, that's my story. That's the way it was. And just building really, really good relationships. I will never understand digital marketing. I know a lot about it, but it's not my skill. So I bring people in with the skills. That's what I've always done. And then we just grew. And then we still are a Shopify store. And you can when you've got a Shopify store, you get an app and you get a ping every time you get a sell. And it was just a wonderful celebration. So working from my house at the time and packing from our garage, crazy. And I remember the day we turned the ping off because it was annoying, and I thought that day would never happen. I mean,
I was going to ask you actually when that penny dropped that actually we've got something here, and it must have been when you just can constantly make money in your sleep, really, by, you know, having a shop.
I think there was a lot of things. I think, you know, we were one of the first subscription businesses and first direct to consumer. We didn't do that because we wanted to make more money. We did it because I wanted her journey to be as easy as possible. I didn't want to I wanted to take it off a to-do list, order Absolute Collagen. I wanted to be able to cancel any time. So we're the first company to ever use no obligation cancel. You can subscribe and cancel any time. Yeah. All those things were to make her journey perfect. It was never about, you know, this would be better for the bottom line. It's never been about that. And I'm really fortunate it's never been about that. So they were fundamental moments. And then winning an award in 2019. So when I first started, I set my bar, like, who did I want to be recognised by? What was the governing body? And it was CEW, Cosmetic Executive Women. They're big in the beauty industry because I found myself in beauty by default, right? I didn't know I was in beauty. I was like, oh, I'm in beauty. And I set my bar, my North Star was I want to be recognised by CEW. So I went along, met them. They're gorgeous people. They never used to have supplements. We were the very first supplement they allowed into their category. We won in 2019. And that was, I remember going to those awards, and that was a massive fundamental moment. Being on that stage and being given the award by a lady that worked for Mintel and having all these fabulous beauty industry people in the room. That was pretty awesome.
That was your moment. Do you know what? I love the way you talk about her. So obviously her is your consumer, right? She's your client.
Absolute.
But when this is an absolute, I love that, like a Swiftie, but obviously for Absolute Collagen. But I love the way you talk with such passion about her, who's probably a multitude of different women, different backgrounds, different age groups even, you know, but this, when you started off, did you have her in mind? Was the kind of business built from the bottom up in terms of thinking about who her was and how you spoke to her.
You know, again, yeah, that was really interesting because I've been brought up, my mum worked really, really hard, single mother, 3 or 4 jobs, worked so hard. And all the women on my mum's side and my dad's side actually, were all women that worked really, really hard.
Yeah.
And got no recognition. They didn't ask for it, they didn't want it, they just got on with the job in hand. So whenever I've done anything, she started as my mum in different generations of her life. And I considered every single one of them to be my mother at 20, my mother at 30, my mother at 40, and I never wanted her to be let down. So I guess it was the underestimated woman, really, you know, because we don't talk about, we're not a beauty brand that talks about fighting the signs of aging, because nobody looks good after a fight. We're a brand that empowers women to be who they are, to step into their own spotlight so they can see themselves. Because my mum never did that, you know, and all the women bringing up in my life put everyone first apart from themselves. So that's who she is to me. And you're right, it's lots of different people, but whenever we look at any woman, whether she's a mother, a sister, whatever, we always put everybody first.
Yeah.
So my brand, Absolute Collagen, puts her first. So she can see herself. Not that she can then stand on, it's not so she gets a massive ego and stands on a pedestal and goes, oh, here I am. It's just that subtle humbleness of kind of turning her vision inwards and going, how about you? Where are you in all of this?
And that element of self-care that always goes to the back of the queue because we're so busy looking after everyone else. So totally relate to that.
Yes.
So in terms of innovation, so obviously we started with the bone broth jelly, you know, that went through various different processes, and obviously the marine collagen. Where is the innovation now? Is it something like I've got what we do, you know, where does it go from here?
No, we've got new product development and existing product development. So we're always looking at EPD, what we call, is like we're constantly tweaking, making sure, because the taste, you know, it is 8 grams of collagen. It's, you know, it's got a taste to it. So we're always working on that. We look at what should we put in the ingredients in. We're not a brand that just will put an ingredient in to make a claim, because lots of people do that. You know, we want an ingredient that really stacks up, that she will benefit from. You know, we've just done our clinical trials last year on our supplement. We are the only brand that's done that. It was the biggest clinical trial ever done on collagen, because we are the only brand that's done that. All the other brands have used their collagen suppliers or their ingredient suppliers clinicals. We've done our own on our products on 8 grams. So we are so, and that's all about her. She deserved that, right? We couldn't afford it on day one. We can now. And as far as new product development, because we're very close to her, our absoluters, they don't always know what products they want, but we can talk to them about their needs. They know what their issues are and what their needs are. So we've just launched a whole topical collagen boosting skincare, all with clinical trials, double-blind, placebo. The trials were absolutely phenomenal. Gold standard clinical trials on the supplement and the skincare. So we've got a serum. We've got eye cream. The eye cream has been proven to increase collagen by 143%. We've got a neck and deck cream, which is just gorgeous, a day cream and a night cream. And there is always stuff in the background. Because as far as NPD goes, because we always say, and this is my role, you know, I said to you before, I'm no longer CEO, I brought a CEO in. My role constantly is I've got the absoluters on one shoulder and the team on the other, and I'm thinking, how does every single decision affect them? Because they're equally as important, right? And every penny we get to the business doesn't belong to us, it belongs to her. How can we best serve her? How can we best get the team to be the best in their field? So to me, that's what it's about, creating a culture where our team feel really valued. And that, to me, that's the fun. That's what I enjoy doing, and I'm lucky that I get to do that.
But that's lovely, because I mean, a lot of companies and businesses talk about thinking about their consumers first, but it's clearly an integral part of your business. And again, to measure that on a par with your staff, I think is absolutely amazing. How do you stay true to your vision and brand? Like,
really?
Consumers, they're changing. Do you talk to them? How do you keep up in this fast-paced market? Because I expect other people followed you, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's a really good question. We get copied all the time, so much so that one of our competitors had our phone number on the back of their box. Talk about copy and paste. We remain inventive and the leader. We always respect what other people do, and it's really easy to pivot and look at what they're doing and think, oh, we need to do that. But it's staying true. It's staying pure to who you are. That's not to say there's certain things we wouldn't do, because things change and we might look at different options, but it's about being confident in standing in front of your brand, being confident that you are delivering the best for your team, for your consumer, the products. And that to me is non-negotiable. I think I see a lot of young brands come up, and well, first of all, it's really weird because they'll get copied and then they copy what their competitors are doing. So they then dilute what they stand for. Or with our competitors, they use our tone of voice. We've got a certain tone of voice that tends to, I guess it's come from me at the beginning. And we've got social media people that, Katie's been with me since day one. And, there's Darcy. And I think as a family business, we share the same morals and principles and values. So it's quite easy to stand by them. And there's so many things that are non-negotiable. It's like, this is what we stand for. And your brand guidelines are really, really important. What do you stand for? What's your purpose? And when I work with young brands, I'm always trying to get that tiny piece of cotton, like, what's your purpose? They say, I haven't got one. I say, you have. Tell me your story. And then once you've got that, you pull it in, and then you pull their personality out, and the personality comes into the brand, and that's what makes all brands different. And that's the beauty of different brands. I think the only thing I always say is, I introduce people to collagen. They take mine, they might go off and try competitors. They generally come back, but I want them to be safe when they go to another competitor.
Yeah.
Because it's an unregulated industry, and not all collagen's equal, because it's become a commodity. So most collagen products out there now will be bovine or marine. And the animals, because it's a commodity, get fed hormones and antibiotics. You have to be really, really careful. Your source of collagen is so important. And yourself, I always use the analogy of fairy liquid. If you've got fairy liquid and you've got a random one, you just need a tiny bit of this one and it works better. So your quality of ingredients is really, really important. We're the only brand that's ever gone out. We use one supply that no one else uses, and we've been and audited them. We do things properly, and I think that comes, and again, that's non-negotiable. Our family values are, and I say this to anybody starting out, whether it's a service or a product or a brand, just do the right thing. It's really simple. Don't cut corners. Pay your tax, pay your VAT, look after your team. Don't cut corners, because your head and my head has hit the pillow every single night since I started this journey 8 years ago. And I know I've done the right thing. And I'm probably more proud of that, because it is the halo of the brand, and your team will feel that as well.
I absolutely relate. I'm a big ethics kind of person. And doing the right thing is equally important. Do you know what I mean? And you're quite right. When you go to bed every night knowing that, you've done the right thing, you've done the work, you've not cut the corners, and, you're who you say you are on the tin. I think there is a lot to be said for that. And I think also when you are a family business, because WeAreTheCity is kind of family business, although my daughter's run off to insurance, she doesn't want to work with me. Maybe she's watched me for too many years, I don't know, but I think it's really kind of important that you all know what you stand for, and your team does. You could stop any member of your team and go, who are we, what do we stand for, and it just rolls off their tongue, because they're as much part of it as you are. I think that's, and I think
I do, but I also think it's really important to allow your team to challenge you. I want to be challenged constantly. I want to be poked, I want to be prodded, I want to be questioned, because times change, things change, you know, and you have to, not only do you have to take your team, you have to take yourself along. So you have to give your team enough space, especially creatives, to push their elbows, to push the boundaries and to challenge you. I see so many teams or brands where they don't grow because everybody's scared to say anything.
Yeah.
You know, you have
all the
to
ideas are coming out of one person, which, and I'm with you, you know,
not.
generational changes, different diversity lenses. We need that different thinking around us. Just because you're the CEO, the founder, whoever it is that you may be, doesn't necessarily mean you've got all the answers, right?
Absolutely. And I've always said that I've definitely not got all the answers. And I'm very, very open to be challenged. It might be, I mean, it's a bit different now. We're a team of nearly 70 now, you know, and I will still challenge, they'll still challenge me. And sometimes I have to go, okay, they're right.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't think they are, you know, but there's 6 of them in one room and me, and I have to go with the majority because I'll say, right, I get where you're coming from. This is what I think, but I will respect you on this. And not a lot of people can do that. And it's really important. And you have to let them make mistakes as well. That's tough.
Do you know something? There was a really good piece of advice one of my corporate bosses gave me. And he said, if you go around constantly fixing everyone's mistakes and putting your fingers in all the leaking taps, you're going to run out of fingers. You know, you've got to let people make their own mistakes and learn by it, and just be there to support them so that it doesn't happen again. Best piece of advice ever, because you can't, can you? Especially when you grow to your size, you can't fix everything, and people have to learn.
But it's just like children. I've always brought my children up with a free rein, and I've wanted them to feel pain. I remember Margot, my youngest, was seeing somebody once. It was really, really horrible to her. She kept phoning me and crying. And I said, Madge, so I call her Madge, what do you want me to do? When it hurts enough, you'll walk away.
Yeah.
And it did hurt enough, and she did walk away. But what I do know, if I'd have rescued her, she'd have put up with that behaviour time and time again. So you also want your team to feel the pain. They need to feel, shit, I got that wrong. It's really tough, actually. But you've got to allow them to do that, I think. If they keep
Especially if you're that caring
thing,
person as well, I think, you know, or you've got that much empathy, which is really hard sometimes, you know, to, you know, where you want to rush in and you want to fix something for somebody, but at the same point, they made a mistake and it could have had devastating consequences. So there has to be an element, I suppose.
You have to learn.
So
and
finally,
we're all learning, definitely. Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. I could talk to you all afternoon. So finally, you know, if we've got some aspiring entrepreneurs, female founders, mixing up a storm in their own kitchens or whatever it is that they happen to be working on, what advice would you give them in terms of starting that business?
Do you know, I'm very, very passionate about this. I used to walk into a room full of entrepreneurs, full of business people, men and women, and get ignored constantly because I was nobody. I had no history, nothing to stand by. But I kept on just being me. Always turn up as you, never pretend, never leave a meeting with pretending you don't know something, because you are responsible. You need to understand. Ask lots and lots of questions. And if you need help, find somebody you think you can trust and ask for help. And I got to say, networking, and I really never used to like networking. I still know that word, you know, but my journey grew because I networked. And as I said, in the early days, I was really ignored. I used to go to events, I'd sit on the table on my own and no one would talk to me, and that's fine, but you still go. And you might go to 10 events, 9, you'll think, what the hell did I go? But there'll be that one where you go, make that connection, and always turn up as you. I just think being you is so important. Never pretend to be anybody else. And I think we can all look at a brand and think, oh, that brand's really good, I need to be that brand. Well, you can be a different brand with a different audience, because not everybody will be looking at one brand. Everyone's attracted to something different.
Yeah.
And I think once you do that and you find your voice, your tribe will come.
Absolutely. So be authentic, be your authentic self. And I suppose never
It's
give
less
up. I mean,
tiring as well.
you started on your kitchen table, right? Remind me how much you turn over now and how many staff and
Well, we turned over 23, I think, last year, about to do 30 this year, and I think we're at 70 team members.
and we're talking
Yeah.
millions here, right? So, you
Oh,
know.
yeah, sorry, we're talking millions, yeah. Yeah.
People are thinking,
And
what?
you know, well, another piece of advice I would say is don't be hard on yourself, because you never reach the horizon. Your horizon will change. You'll set yourself a goal, you'll get there, then the horizon moves, because you move it yourself, right? What next? What next? But just remember to celebrate, because we forget. We do now because we're a big team, but we used to forget to celebrate our successes a lot, actually. And you've got to do that, because it's hard out there.
It is. It's a tough climate. Well, Maxine, I've really enjoyed talking to you. Down to earth, to the point, full of great advice. And what a story, right? So long may you continue. So for those of you who are interested, you can go and look at the Absolute Collagen website. You can find more about Maxine as well. I think you're on most social media channels. And who knows, maybe you'll become one of her she's as well, and hers. And she can look after you in the same way. But thank you so much for watching. And Maxine, thank you for spending time with us. It's been awesome.
Thank you. Lots of love, Vanessa.
And to you.